Good morning. My name is Michael R. Roser, and I am co-founder and chief coaching facilitator at my company, Strategic Life Coaching, LLC. Please visit us for this video and others at my website, abundantlifeslc.com. Thank you for tuning in to the second installment on what I'm paraphrasing and coining as the how of life, which again, as a point of review from the first, is simply living a life based upon honesty, openness, and willingness. And today, here in the second installment, I'd like to talk about honesty. And as you guys know, I have the help of my friend Webster. I'm a fan of old books, the older the better, especially dictionaries and atlases. Anyway, so I thought before we started to talk about honesty that it might be helpful to talk about the opposite of honesty, because that gets to the root of what was going on inside of me that I absolutely had to change in order to live a more abundant life. So, deception. The act of deceiving, a fact or condition leading to fraud or tricks. And Plato said in a quote, and I'm paraphrasing, the worst of all deception is self-deception. And I lived my life by that deception, self-deception. And so what I was doing, as it turns out, through some steps, some spiritual steps, and a lot of help from other people, what I found was I was building a facade that I had outwardly put out there, that I was working on to falsify what was really going on inside of me, because I had no faith that what was really going on, the real inner self, the real Michael Roser, was something that people were going to run away from. They were not going to respect, and so on. And so what a facade is an outward appearance to conceal a less pleasant or credible reality. And I think that the word in there, to conceal, was certainly what I was up to, but it was less than pleasant, and I was hiding a credible reality. And therein lies the lie, is that I was putting forth something that, as I found out, wasn't as valuable and good as what was really inside of me. My own ego and pride was getting in the way of allowing me to feel comfortable internally with myself, thusly portraying that and living that out for all of you. And as I talked about, there's many defense mechanisms that we use in order to keep that facade going. So masking what I was really at was that self-deception, that part of me that I didn't want anybody to know. And so as I started this program and I started really working on honesty and being truthful to myself and working on that, things began to improve for me, and improve at a rate that, again, I can't even describe. So honesty in the dictionary comes from the Latin word honestus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which means honorable. So it means truthful, it means to be genuine, it means to be reputable and credible. There's synonyms such as upright and conscientious and honorable. And so when I went down further on the same page, I got to honor, and it talks about a good name, a good reputation, an outward respect, an evidence or symbol of distinction. And when you get down to the verb, that was really, really powerful for me in the message that I'm trying to get out this morning. To honor, to regard or treat with honor, to confer honor on, to fulfill the terms of. And when I started to internally really work on what was going on inside of me, the character defects, as I call them, working on this facade, I wasn't able to bring honor to myself or anybody around me, because the work that it took to keep that facade going was just unbearable because it wasn't truthful at the time. So the more things I tried to buy, the more material possessions I tried to put out there, the more charitable organizations that I sat on boards for and I contributed money to. It was all work on that facade, unfortunately. So what I was really doing was building this life resume that really didn't mean, now, did I do some good work sitting on those boards? Of course, but my motivation internally inside me was not an honest one. It wasn't an honorable one, and therefore all of those practices it wasn't fulfilling to me in any way. It's also interesting that there's a definition that goes further back that's down from deceptive, which is to decide, and to decide is to make a choice and a final judgment to change. So I decided that I was going to bring more honesty into everything that I did, but I started with myself, and that took a lot of work. It takes a lot of courage to look at yourself and to really change and be able and be vulnerable to open up that facade and to see and let people, more importantly, see who you really are. And that is the final word for the day, if you will, which is intimacy, which I like to say is into me you see. And now I don't have to spend that inordinate amount of time trying to juggle balls and keep something in the air that I know is not true to myself. Hope that was helpful. Tomorrow we'll talk about openness, on Monday, and then we'll finish up with willingness. Thanks. Again, hope that was helpful. Bye now.